Theology, Then and Now, where we discover religious secrets of the past and present. Today, we'll be studying Judaism, which is only 0.2% of the practiced religions in the world, according to a 2019 forum, including atheist and agnostic peoples. Dominantly, as you can assume, is Christianity and its branches, which we talked about 2 weeks ago. To find the source of Judaism, we go back about 3,800 years.
1812 BC is where Jewish history begins. Founded in the Bronze Age in the Middle East, Judaism is a monotheistic religion, meaning they only believe in one God. Jews live by the Torah, or the Jewish law, which is the primary document of the religion, and was given to the Jews by the prophet Moses. The first Jew, Abraham, followed in God's footsteps and founded Judaism and Christianity. The only difference between these two religions is that the Christians believe their Savior, the Messiah, has already come, and the Jews believe he is yet to come. The Jews' holy place is here in Jerusalem, the capital of Israel. Here you see modern-day Jerusalem, of course, and Judaism is one of the oldest religions in the world, so as you could guess, it's a little different out here. The Jews have a few different important religious figures, including Abraham, who is the founder of Judaism. He and his wife had a child named Isaac. Then there's Moses, who was born in Egypt and freed Jews from the Egyptian Pharaoh under the orders of God. He led Jews through Egypt to sacred land. Of course, we also have God, who, through the perspective of Judaism, created the universe and models holiness and ethical behavior. Circling back around, we come back to Isaac, the son of Abraham and Sarah, and was almost sacrificed under tradition to God, but was stopped by an angel. And finally, there's Jacob, who was the son of Isaac, and had a brother named Esau, who Isaac favored over him, and he was tricked and faked as Esau to receive a blessing. Jews believe in the Torah, or Jewish law, as I mentioned earlier. They also believe in the 10 Commandments. Signs and symbols are an important part of the Jewish religion. If you can identify them, you could be considered a true Jewish follower. Many of the symbols listed below are commonly found in one's Jewish home, both today and up to 4,000 years ago. The symbols include mezuzah, tzitzit, and tefillin, which are all reminders of the 10 Commandments. Then there's the menorah, which resembles a candelabrum and is the ancient worldwide symbol for Judaism. And the Jewish star, or Magen David, is a modern worldwide symbol for Judaism. The symbol chai, commonly found on jewelry, represents 18, a favorable number to many Jews. Then you have the hand, which is common imagery found in Jewish jewelry, and its connection to Judaism is currently questionable. The Jews also wear skull caps, or kippah, as a religious custom. Along with Israel and Jerusalem, there are many places that Jewish citizens would consider sacred. Many Jewish that aren't domesticated in Israel try to visit them at least once in a lifetime, not only because it's their homeland, but also because of the original temple in Jerusalem, the ancient capital of Israel. A few other sacred places include the Jewish temple, which is called a synagogue. Its purpose is not only directed towards worship, but also education and community. Things that will be found in synagogues include the Holy Ark, the Star of David, an internal light source, a reading table, a replica of the 10 Commandments, and a special seat for the rabbi. Images of God are forbidden. The temple in Jerusalem, not to be mistaken for a synagogue, is mostly deteriorated. One wall is left, called the Wailing Wall, in name of the Jews who visit to mourn the destruction of the temple. In ancient Israel, it was always tradition to sacrifice the firstborn male in one's family. However, this tradition wasn't and isn't always followed. Some Jewish holidays you may have heard of, like Hanukkah or Passover, but many of them aren't as popularized, especially in America. Some Jewish holidays that you may not have heard of include the following. First, there's Shabbat. Just before sundown each Friday, Jews take time to observe God's complexion of creation. This is a weekly celebration and may not be taken as seriously as some of the other festivities on this list. Next, there's Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year. This is a time devoted to festive meals and a day spent in prayer and meditation. Yom Kippur is the most solemn day of the Jewish New Year. Sukkot is the Jewish celebration of the fall harvest, usually celebrated with a feast. Tu B'Shvat is the Jewish New Year of the trees. Time is spent observing our connections to the environment, kind of like Earth Day. Finally, there's Purim, a day where Jews celebrate their victory over a diabolical plot of destruction, written out in the Book of Esther. And on that note, Theology Then and Now will be right back after these messages.
Pete's Beady Meats is having a sale! Almost everything must go! Our tight working quarters in the factory make it totally safe for you to consume our meat during this pandemic! Go to your grocery store's dumpster where you can purchase your very own meat package from Pete's Beady Meats!
I'm not Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
Welcome back to Theology Then and Now, where we're talking about Judaism. Next, we're on the topic of how the religion is practiced. The daily lives of many Jews don't really vary from the daily lives of non-religious or non-Jewish people. Many Jews' religious practices are extremely similar to those of a Christian. Things you may see in Jewish daily life include a prayer recited to God 3 times a day, commonly before a meal. Congregational prayers take place in a synagogue, usually on Mondays, Thursdays, and Sundays, known in most variations of Christianity as going to church. A Jewish priest, more commonly known as a rabbi, is in charge of conducting daily study sessions that take place in a synagogue and making important decisions in relation to Jewish law and tradition in Jewish life. Jews have achieved many triumphs through the ancient years, most of them being successful because of the presence of God. Today, Jewish achievements have not been as dramatic, mainly because there's no need for war and violence. But still, small victories matter. So here's a list of more modern accomplishments accomplished by a variation of Jews living in America. In 1654, the first Jewish explorers came to find themselves in the New World, after months of traveling across Europe. In 1778, many Jewish Americans aided in the Revolution. Then, in 1873, Levi Strauss, an American Jewish gold digger, made a fortune off the invention of blue jeans. In 1919, Jewish Americans like Paramount's Adolf Zukor and Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer founded Hollywood. Around the year 1945, World War II began and many Jews sought refuge in America. In 1996, entrepreneur Sergey Brin started Google, one of the biggest search engines today. Finally, in 2003, Mark Zuckerberg launched Facebook. There are many forms of Judaism practiced through Israel and the world. The 3 most common types, however, are Reform, Conservative, and Orthodox Judaism. Reform being the most laid back and Orthodox being the most strict. We'll get into a more in-depth explanation of each type right now. Reform Judaism is a religious movement that has reformed or changed many traditional Jewish beliefs, laws, and practices as an attempt to adapt Judaism to the continuously changing social, political, and cultural conditions of the modern world. Conservative Judaism is a Jewish religious movement that believes that the Jewish religion originates from traditions passed down from generation to generation, rather than from God Himself. Finally, Orthodox Judaism is a type of Jewish movement that strictly obeys Jewish law, which is only to be interpreted through traditional manuscripts. Starting around 2000 to 1750, the Old Babylonian period took place. In 1813, Abraham was born. Around 1850 to 1750, to the year 700, a famine forced Israelites to migrate to Egypt. 1800, the first Jerusalem city was built. Around 1792 to 1750 was Hammurabi's reign. In 1713, Isaac was born. 1677, Isaac was prepared as a sacrifice, and Sarah, the wife of Abraham, dies. In 1653, Jacob was born. 1638, Abraham dies. In 1590, Isaac blessed Jacob instead of Esau. In 1562, Joseph was born, and in 1546, Joseph was sold into slavery. In 1393, Moses was born, and finally, 1300 to 1200, the Mosaic period took place, which is when Moses leads the Israelites through the unknown land to Jerusalem. Sounds backwards? Take into account the BCE. Yeah, those little letters at the end are sure important, aren't they? Many Jewish words pair with a symbol, and their history goes back to ancient times. But some Jewish words, the ones you missed when we talked about signs and symbols, are used only in text and have no relation whatsoever to any sort of sign or symbol. Even simple Jewish words like shalom have a deeper meaning. So, if you are visiting Israel, here are some definitions of some words you might want to know. Chutzpah is an adjective used to describe someone who is a bold, arrogant, presumptuous, and a few more adjectives, but I think you get the drift kind of person. This word happens to be usually used as a positive trait. A kippah is a hat that Jewish men and women wear on their heads, and also may be called a yarmulke. Kosher translates to correct, proper, or okay. It usually refers to a food that fits the kashrut laws. L'chaim means literally to life, similar to the American cheers when drinking to a toast. Mazel tov interprets to good luck and is commonly said at the end of weddings, bar or bat mitzvahs, or just when responding to good news. Shalom means hello, goodbye, or peace. Tikkun olam is a word that translates to the healing of the world, a common and central theme in Jewish teachings. Finally, the Torah is the Jewish or Hebrew Bible, commonly handwritten on a scroll of parchment, and may also refer to the Jewish way. A recently recorded message from the host of Theology, Then and Now. Hi, historians. With the coronavirus, Jews are just at risk as the rest of us, and they've got some things going on too. Here are some updates we've put together on how the Jews were and are affected by the virus. Many Jews are being forced to return to Israel due to the recent threat of the virus. In April of 2019, 302 Jews decided to return home, compared to April 2020, where 455 returned again. Israel has one of the lowest death rates in the world, and an estimated 100,000 death toll waiting to take place. Life in Israel has already somewhat returned to ordinary, as they are making quick progress in restoring the economy. In Israel, school has resumed for some grades, businesses have been reopened, and beaches and outdoor markets are slated to reopen. However, in many large Jewish communities worldwide, the coronavirus is still wreaking a terrible toll. I hope you're enjoying this episode of Theology, Then and Now, and on with the show. Thank you for watching this episode of Theology, Then and Now. Make sure to catch us next Tom, what are you doing? We're on set. Excuse me for a second. My producer's giving me a note, guys. What? Okay, I see. So, Theology Then and Now is now canceled. But be sure to be on the lookout for the new show, Theology Now and Then, with my twin, Laroline Clovelace. See you later, historians!